and you can never take them lightly, and all these teams really want to get in on that cycle.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that too is this JV program. I mean, we see some very well accomplished schools, Lords, Columbia, making great JV runs with their teams as well. So all of that, definitely something to keep in mind. But we are getting in onto the picks and bans before too long, and it will be Swain taken off of the table before anything else.
Yeah, that one's not really too much of a shock. Probably the biggest question mark about that ban right there was the fact that it was banned on the blue side. Normally you see Swain go away on the red side, because that's just such a strong ban. You basically just want to say, okay, either you guys ban it so we get another ban, or we'll just take it because we're going to be pretty happy with a Swain on our team. But Draven, that one's a little bit further out there, and that one definitely has to be somebody's champion pool. No other if, way, or and around it.
Yeah, definitely probably a target there at Fairfar's world. Assuming actually they're all in LCS order, the top down. We don't know that for sure. The good news is once we get the game, we can get them in the order. Thankfully, they fixed that in the spectator client. One of the kinder gifts of Riot Games to our humble collegiate endeavors and streaming tournament administrative issues to solve. But that will round out our first ban phase, as Kaisa and Shen are taken out on the side of Houston, and Carnegie Mellon will round out with Grom and Zach, meaning Skarner is the first takeaway for Houston.
Yeah, it's still up, and the direct counter to Skarner, the Olaf, is still on the board, but that definitely would revolve around Carnegie Mellon being able to play around it as well. We've kind of seen a back and forth between whether you go with the new school tanky CC junglers or the old school. So like the Skarner, the Olaf, the Trundle, or do you go all the way back to the time when Sejuani, the time when Zach, the time when J4 were really on top of the meta? And I mean, with the Zach banned away, there's still a lot of options up, but they're going to elect against it and just go with a very strong bot lane here. Morgana this early on, though, is certainly a little bit out there because you want Morgana to be a good counter pick matchup, and that's not great in a Skarner. Like, his ultimate is too quick for you to Black Shield. You got to hope that now they pick something basically into you where Morgana really is going to be effective.
Yeah, certainly the case, and so definitely something that leaves the door open to them getting countered, and leaves a pretty good option here, actually, just as far as draft theory goes, for Houston to go ahead and just pick that up right now, because picking the support here really doesn't give too much away. You can go ahead and counter the Morgana pretty well into it. The pool is still open because only Brom's banned away. So unless there's just something that's really itching at these guys and say, no, we need this for the next round, a support pick here really could shore up. And it looks like the Karma into the flex role there going to be held tentatively.
Yeah, no, the Karma, I have to put money on it actually going to the support position, just because mid lane Karma as of late, sure, it has a lot of potential for the shove and the roaming game, but when you talk about defensive with so many ganking mid laners, it is so incredibly easy just to pick something aggressive into the Karma, get a good ganking jungler, and just run that lane completely over. So with Ezreal, though, should be doing pretty good, and isn't something that gets hard countered by the Morgana. As long as you're able to really move away, kite away from all those dark bindings, there's really not too much that a Karma Ezreal lane would have to worry about.
Well, with that, the solo laners are the last to be targeted in this pick, and ban Fiora off the table. Orianna taken on the other side. Don't want to leave that one open for any last picks. Usually, actually, we see the blue side opt to take Orianna first, as she is safe into so many matchups. Don't want to get counter-picked away, but this time they say, you know what, it's not something we're prepared for. It's not something that we want to have to deal with, so Elvis is just going to get that one out of there, especially if Karma mid is on the table here. So Gangplank taken away. So it's all top lane focus from the side of Carnegie Mellon. Hoeing Fam going to have a harder time.
Yeah. The top lane meta is one that's been basically focused around the poke-based tank. So you have the Gnar, especially you have the Sion. Cho'Gath already picked here. Would it be a bad matchup for the Sion pickup here? So there's still stuff like the Olaf. You can still pick a Gnar into it. But there aren't that many more options, and maybe instead of just looking to beat this guy out in lane, because he is so sustained focused on the Cho'Gath, maybe just go somewhere else. Maybe bring the Roamer, or even if you want to go as far as like the Fiora, as far as the Camille, you can play a scaler into that, but no, he's going to be sticking with that split push style. And he has to be careful now that he doesn't get poked out by the Cho'Gath. But if he stays in the advantage, if he makes a lead, that is one that will not be turning back over lightly.
Well, it looks like we're getting the foundations of this competition very pick-focused coming out from Houston. They want to find targets and get them out before the fight even begins, and it's a team fight composition through and through building now over onto the side of CMU. We'll see if they pick up a mid laner to really put the cherry on top of things there, or if they're just going to go with something a little bit more laning focused, because this LeBlanc, not something we see a whole ton of these days.
So LeBlanc, normally, not only do you have pretty strong laning presence, that's exactly the pick I would have gone into at Rise, because you are able to lock down LeBlanc so incredibly efficiently, especially with a Sejuani on your back foot. But LeBlanc works incredibly well in that split push game. You grab the, you do go for the Hextech Revolver. You get, with the Hextech Revolver into the Gunblade, you get so much sustain now in that split push game, just being able to W1 forward, hit Q, and clear an entire wave, that you don't really have to worry about whether you win the lane or not. You just go affect somewhere else. But that's exactly what Rise doing. I'd very much highly argue that Rise does that just one step better. Add on top of that the extra mobility you get with your ultimate, the extra lockdown you get with your W as compared to something like the Chain of Corruption. Sure, there's a lot more snowballing potential here for LeBlanc if Elvis really starts to get on that mid lane, being the Skarner jungle. But if everything goes even, this is a huge benefit for Rise.
I think so, and I really like the Rise pick too, because I feel like it does not compromise the spirit of Carnegie Mellon's team composition, right? They already have something that's going to be very tough to deal with in team fights with their spread out lockdown, their engaged potential that they're going to have from Sejuani, and where they're going to be able to pull in kind of supplementally from Cho'Gath and now effectively the Rise as well. And then depending on how aggressive that Morgana wants to go, which Ignite being what it is these days, usually we're seeing a little bit more aggression from the supports. I really feel like the team fighting composition from Carnegie Mellon is there, and Rise really does fit well into that, while also being just a great pick for all of the aforementioned reasons that you detailed here just for us. So I think it's very heads-up drafting for Carnegie Mellon. This is something that I would not be surprised if they'd practice, they'd rehearse this team comp, they know what they want to do.
The mark of JV really is just team fight. I mean, it's not the most complicated thing in the world. It's something you can very easily scrim, and it's also something that you can just put together out of every single part, and you can almost be guaranteed every single scrim you go into, every single match, you're going to be able to force some sort of team fight. And with a Sejuani for the long-range engage, with Caitlyn Morgana as the follow-up, they have a lot of those options. That being said, though, they are potentially a little bit weak to the split push threat coming out of Nara and coming out of LeBlanc. Because that very easily leads into a 1-3-1. Ezreal plus Karma, even the Skarner in the mid lane, are going to be very wave clear focused. They can keep pushing as far as they possibly can. But then going back on the other side, there's also a lot of engage coming out of Carnegie Mellon. And this now boils down a lot to, does the Carnegie Mellon ball lane actually find an advantage with the Caitlyn Morgana pressure lane? Does Gnar start beating out Cho'Gath? And which of these sides of the map are really just going to make the bigger impact? Because it really is whether you can get the split push game going first, or whether the team fight starts coming together for Carnegie Mellon.
I think so, and I think a lot of that's going to manifest itself just in the way that the laning phase goes, because if the side of Houston can really start to get that split push going, I mean, they have a great pick composition with some really effective roaming potential, just coming out with some of the mobility on their champion. So if they can turn those that split push into, you know, the rotations necessary for a pick, to play with their pick comp, there's really nothing they can't do in this game. And there are so many squishy targets. Cho'Gath is really the only one that two members of this team may have trouble blowing up late. So the laning phase is going to be important. Wave management in the mid game going to be crucially important. I'm excited to see it all pan out. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a little bit of information to share with you all about the CSL before we hop into game here on the last few seconds of the delay. If you want to get more involved in our collegiate esport endeavors, Discord is a great way to keep up with what we are doing. You can hit !Discord in the chat. Keep up with what's going on in our community. That's not just League of Legends. That's every single esport your little heart would desire. We've got a lot of them there. If you want to get your school more involved, that's a great way. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/CStarLeague or CSLLOL for more league-specific focused content. We do have a couple of those. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/CStarLeague. Do want to give a huge shout out to Twitch, saying nothing but gratitude for the largest streaming platform in all of competitive gaming, for their sponsorship and their continued help and support with our collegiate endeavors. From events like PAX East and West, the CSL wouldn't be what we are today without their continued help and support. So you can be on the lookout for cool ways to get involved with Twitch in the near future. That is facebook.com/Twitch, twitter.com/Twitch, twitch.tv. It is where you are right now, unless you're watching us on YouTube. In that case, that would mean you have gone to youtube.com/user/C-Star-League, where you already know that's where we keep all of our VODs, all of our action.
That's where we store them.
Of League of Legends, you can catch it up right then and there. And with that, we should be ticking on into the game pretty soon.
Yeah, loading in as we start. You guys don't see this yet, but nothing too crazy as far as storm spells do go. We do see Gnar opting in. I'll give it a few seconds here, but Summon Ares on the Gnar does certainly point to a much more poke-heavy early game, and this now turns into a situation where Gnar needs to win this laning phase. If he goes even, that is effectively a loss for the Houston squad, and without split push pressure, you are hard relying on this pick game between Skarner and LeBlanc, and that's something that's incredibly risky to put all your eggs into that basket.
Yeah, no, absolutely the case, and so they're going to have to play to that one with a good bit of precision. It's not something you can't overcome if you're very well aware of it, and that puts a little bit more pressure onto the hands of Elvis and possibly Reno as well there, just to make sure they can potentially help out Ali if need be. We'll see how that one does play itself out.
Yeah, we are going to get into the lane here. First really big thing for me has to be Coin taking on Huang. I'm just not really sure why you wouldn't take Spell Thief's Edge on the Karma. You want the bonus AP, you want the bonus magic regen. I mean, potentially it's just for that earlier Sightstone. The thing with the two items is Spell Thief gives you a lot more stats in the laning phase. It allows you to be aggressive, or if not aggressive, at least equal the pressure of Buck and Atome on the very aggressively pushing Morgana plus Caitlyn lane. But when you go for the Coin, sure, you get a little bit more in the terms of sustain. You get a little bit more gold just income, and it's a lot more consistent, so earlier Sightstone. But it just doesn't do anything in lane. You are a Karma. Your entire job is to annoy the shit out of the enemy laner. And with that, you're just going to be farming up.
Yeah, very much the case. And so it's not like, too, that Coin is gone if you don't pick it up in laning phase. It's not like you can't play that one out a little later too, but I understand maybe not wanting to start with Spell Thieves and then making that dramatic switch because there is a little bit of deficit there.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just so necessary to start snowballing the lane early and really getting yourself into that kind of prime advantage.
It's not quite snowballing the lane because Ezreal has a very generically safe laning phase, but where things start falling off and where this Karma actually comes into her own on this lane for Houston is the fact that you can keep the wave off your tower. With the big Mantra Cube, even just throwing some Qs out into the wave to even out the pressure. Because if you start letting Buck and Atome push in this bottom lane 24/7, that just opens the whole map for us, and already some big fighting.
Huang! Fighting hit Fam pretty hard there. He's going to have to back that one off and probably chug a health potion for good measure too if he can survive a little longer. Level 2 should get that HP bar back up as well, but they actually spit back a good bit of damage and keep Buckfen really low there.
Yeah, already a hell of a lot of fighting on the bot side, and this even just further puts the question mark of why not Spell Thieves, but even so, we'll have to see if that Coin does work out for him. Probably prioritizing a lot more on that early gold generation game. That being said, we do still have some junglers in the match. Elvis with a very nice clear, already headed up to that top side. Not going to catch Rasta, even though Rasta is so incredibly low on this early clear.
Yeah, it just seems like he may be wanting to find the right time if the wave can push out to make something happen on a Jimp there, or it looks like otherwise on a collision course here, as we do see possibly Rastabomb coming up. Gnar, Ali knows he's there. She's going to throw out the boomerang, hold things off, and waste a little bit of Elvis's time, but be able to just smooth right back through. Now, Buckfed actually with the Ignite, heal should not get him too well, and yeah, Fearfars wanted to get in for that one. Fairfars, I'm sorry. But with both summoners blown from Buckfen, does mean he's out of that one. Okay, good play and peel by Adam to keep things out and away. But that's a huge disadvantage having to back so soon. Exactly,
and even on top of that, not having the flash in that lane, when you have the Skarner on the other side of the map, sure, Impale's not up quite yet, but still a huge impact. Oh my god, first blood!
Boy. Holy cow, Hung Fam just got right in there and took it. Nicely done.
Yeah, you cannot stay in that lane 2v1. If you lose your ADC, just go back with the ADC. Try to catch the wave if you want to, but That is taking a slight disadvantage and just exacerbating it. Now, Atome, Bachfen don't have defensive summoners. The only summoner spell they have in the lane is Ignite. Huang and Fair have both of their defensive summoner spells. Flash and Heal are up in that lane. There is literally nothing that Fair has to worry about for the next, 3 minutes, and also making himself very well felt in the jungle here.
Yeah, he's already on the counter jungling endeavors, and that's going to waste a lot of Rastaban's time there. So well played, and look at this. He's on to Flurry. Flashes in for it very aggressively. Could have lost his life there, but did not. Was able to get out and away. Maybe forgot he wasn't level 6 yet. Would have been a good play to level 6.
Yeah, unfortunately, not quite that far into the game just yet. That being said, though, a 700 gold lead starting to stack up. Ollie, though, going pretty darn aggressive on the tower.
Hop behind, takes the tower shot. He's in the minions and goes Mega just in the nick of time, but Jint played it well enough to get out. Not going to be too worried. And that's going to be teleport coming in from Flurry to get back to lane in time. So a lot of pressure throughout this laning phase as it's netted to the tune of close to 1,000k gold in the hands of Houston. There's been that kill obviously down onto Hoing Fam just to make sure that that gold is where it needs to be. And then the CS pressure really hasn't started building up for an advantage on either side just yet.
Yeah, Rasta is down here. Though absolutely nobody knows where he is. Hoing is getting engaged on.
Yeah, this is actually potentially very dangerous. The Black Shield on Rasta will keep things moving in the right direction, but Fairfars has not been hit yet, and that means he can actually just move right in onto Rasta. He's ignited, he's hit up, but the Karma Shield is there, and that means he is going to live through that burn damage and come away with a kill to show for it. Now he's still playing aggressively. We'll see. He should back off here. I bet he learns his lesson.
Yeah, but that was a gank initiated by the side of Carnegie Mellon that Rasta just ends up giving the kill back over. There was absolutely no way they were going to finish that one through. Buck, though, is getting engaged on Black Shield.
Ooh, yeah, Fam wants to come in on that one, find the necessary sustain, and there it is. Fairfars World gets the kill down. Another one onto Buckfin. That's his second death and a second kill coming out for Fairfars as he does drop.
Oh, this is
for the second death. Sorry, that was the first death of Buckfin. Do need to correct the record there.
Well, I mean, we started off this game by saying this is basically a match of whether Aloy in the top lane or Buckfin on the bottom lane could really get started on the right foot in. Right now, this is just an absolutely tragic early game for Carnegie Mellon. So much of their early game pressure revolves around this Caitlyn matchup. Gnar is pushing in on the top lane. The LeBlanc is pushing in on the mid lane. And now, if they do not have a Caitlyn who's able to fight an Ezreal this early on into the match, they have nothing.
Yeah, it's a very damning situation, especially just here at 6 minutes. That all 4 kills of this game have gone down in that bottom lane, and Fairfars World has had his hand in every single one of those, whether it be the 3 kills or the 1 assist, and it's buying a lot of time for the rest of his team across the map. Elvis now making moves. Aloy trying to get in onto Jint again, but I think he's out of this one okay. Does still have his flash, will use it, and back off, but that's another tough spell to burn, especially as he just recently teleported.
And all of these solo lanes getting advantages for Houston opens up the potential for Elvis to really start making an impact here once he hits that level 6. He has Predator. He's almost has Impalin. There's not a single person on that enemy team who's going to be safe. Already potentially looking like a gank right around that mid lane. It's going to be up to Rasta to really stop this bleeding here because his team is just falling over at this point.
Yeah, on that jungle pressure, especially before level 6, hard to find, but right now necessary. You have to dig deep and try anyway. Flurry could be in some trouble as he does get rooted up. He's under his own tower, but Elvis is only going to take 1 shot, as well as a kill to come out with that one, and now Aloy in the top side. Just Mega Gnar to proxy out the wave means that they're stretching these gold advantages farther and farther. Fam is still trying to get in onto Adam, and look at that damage coming out from Fairfars. He is going to get Dark Binding hit on him, so he will have to slow down, but it still just cripples the bottom lane here.
Just look at the item disparity. You have a Cole partially completed now onto Buckfen, but on the other side, Fair, he has not only the tier, but he has a pickaxe, and most importantly, he has a Sheen. This is just such an aggressively trading lane. And now look at where Rasta has been putting a lot of his priority this game. He's, before the last few minutes, he had the bot side of the map just controlled with vision. But for who? Bot lane had died twice now. Rasta's unable to affect that bottom side. And what that does is it allows Elvis on the top portion of the map to claim that red side jungle. And basically, make sure Aloy is going to be in a very advantageous matchup. Aloy even goes forward and steals the red buff to make the lane even harder for DJ. And yeah, somebody needs to make some miracle play right here because absolutely everything that could have gone wrong in the early game for CMU has gone wrong.
Yeah, very much so. And now it seems like that early Morgana pick not going to be enough to save lane face here. As Fan is really just taking it to him. The Knight does not find the right target. And Adam, with a sliver of health, does just survive. Now look at this. They are coming down. That is the Glacial Prison. They want to get in onto Fan. That is going to be a 4-man in the bot lane. Make it really just 2 as the remaining lane has gone. Fairfars decides to take his own life to get a kill out and away onto Buckfen.
Yeah, but here's the response play on the top lane. 3 members are up here. Impale's up.
Yeah, this seems like they're trying to find an answer to that last push on the side of Houston. They do want to come through and take this potential kill and tower away, and they will find Jin very easily. This is the roaming pit comp we were talking about. Very early manifestation, but it's here. It's doing well.
Yeah.
See if they can crush this tower down.
Yeah, CMU, they start to figure out, all right, our lanes aren't going well. Let's just look for a 5-man play or 3-man play, and let's just make something happen. Not the most effective play in the world. They only got the 2 for 1 trade. But here's the thing. They called that play on the bot side, but DJ was not playing safe on the top side. He was not accounting for the possibility that the Houston squad could just do the exact same thing up to him. And the issue was, where there was a 2 kill for 1 in the bottom lane, that's 1 in a tower for nothing on the top side. Ellis, he's got some backup.
Yeah, the backup really wasn't there to start, but now as the tower diving portion does come up, Elvis is only used for his health bars. The remaining members do the work and do take the kill away. Should mean that this mid lane tower is not long for this world, as we're only 10.5 minutes into this game.
It feels like so much more right now. 4 kills on Ezreal. He's already got the man immune stacking up, wants to get to the Muramana. And yeah, mid lane tower might not be long for the world as well. You do have a tome coming up. That's going to have to be a TP blown. And this is just great play from Houston. Not only are they forcing the plays, not only are they finding the objectives, but they're also blowing the summoners from CMU. This means CMU, the next time they want to go make a play, they've got nothing, but maybe actually a little bit of an oversight as CMU do pick up that bot tower for free.
Yeah, definitely just necessary, I think, to get Buckfen on that IV drip of some gold. Just leave him in the lane alone.
Or that IE drip.
Oh boy. But we'll see how that
Ow.
It does have a cold name as well.
I just threw a pen at the wall and it just hit me in the face. Oh god.
Well, you deserve
Alright, yeah, I kind of deserved that one, but going back into the game.
Yeah, April Fool's yourself.
Yeah, haha, XD.
That seems like you and maybe now CMU have something in common, as you both tried a strategy that blew right back up in your face.
Ow, alright. Oh god.
We're making
okay, we're
fun
good.
of it just a little early. We're only 12 minutes into this game. Crazier things have happened, especially now as CMU are getting into the grouping up phase. They do damage to the towers there as well. And if they can play this one smart rotationally, they can do a good job with it. The problem is they are falling into that 1-3-1 we talked about earlier, and having to deal with that when there is Elvis on the map roaming about could get tricky, especially as far ahead as Fairfar's World and Home Fam are.
Yeah, we're going on through. Elvis is starting to push up to the mid lane. It is a 3-on-3, but Impale's going to start the fight.
Yeah, wants to make it happen. Frostabon going to be in a little bit of trouble there. Going to need the blast cone to get out of this one. Plays it well and does get himself through. Buckfen in some trouble as well. Adam on the run for his life. He's going to try with the ultimate Zanyas and actually buys himself some time. Adam, clean play to make that one happen for yourself.
Yeah, great ultimate, but the thing was, that was used for disengage. They had to blow the stopwatch, which means that's not going to be available for the next fight, but I mean, Houston, they're definitely not going to be happy about not picking up all the kills and not picking up all the towers, but they do still get a kill off that play onto Buckfen. They still get a lot of summoners off the board, and they're also going to walk away with this dragon as well. Certainly, they're setting themselves up for success, but they're still missing that, like, killing blow. They still need more towers, and especially as we get closer and closer to this first Baron spawn, they need to find some way to actually put this game away.
Very much the case. They don't want to drag it out. They know they have a sizable lead over CMU to begin with. Built it up out of a lot of early pressure in the bot lane, but as we do move on from the laning phase, this is where it's getting a little less favored to the hands of Houston here. Carnegie Mellon been making some better plays in this post-laning phase area. We'll see if it's just something that's, well, better than their laning phase.
Alright, well, no offense, but that's kind of hard to beat at the moment.
That's the point I'm driving at.
Yeah.
is that they found the bot lane tower, right?
Yeah.
They pushed up their vision. Their vision's been getting cleared pretty heavily, so that's not as big of a point. And then they actually did find that group in the mid lane to take the tower down to about half health. It's still not where they need to be, but they are at least, finding a little bit more team cohesion than they had early when it felt just like 5 players on the map and it was kind of falling to pieces around them. I don't think it's enough at this point to really drive them back in. They need to find a nice pick against a pick comp, or they need to group as 5 and just hope that their team fights in a sustainable position. Otherwise, we'll see moments like this where just
watch on the bot side.
In onto Flurry and just dealing so much damage.
They don't need to find a pick here. They just need to keep this farming going. I mean, DJ hasn't gone that much time to farm up. Mid lane Flurry hasn't even finished one item yet, and even looking at the ADC, no Infinity Edge completed, no Static Shiv, nothing whatsoever. So they just need time, and certainly they're still not out of this game, and that's why I'm talking about when you have the side of Houston, when they're looking like they want to win, they're not having won just yet. There's still a lot of room, and there's still a lot of base, most importantly, for CMU to defend for these next few minutes. That being said here, one good Herald player, one good grouping and pushing could really start to put that team behind.
Very much the case. It's going to be a crippling fight if they can make it happen, or the slow bleed. Otherwise, Houston will be happy with either. As long as the pressure is just being maintained, they can drain the side of Carnegie Mellon quite effectively. Next, things to look out for. There's the Rift Herald. There is a Mountain Drake coming up before too long here. But it looks like they just want to keep up this tower pressure, and there is Elvis coming down on the bot lane. Flurry didn't stand a chance, and this is going to mean the bot lane tower taken down, as Houston will find their second of the match.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at the vision game right now. Carnegie Mellon has absolutely zero idea where this very speedy Skarner is, and hell, it's even going to lead to a third tower falling, so Houston are really extending this gold lead right now, all the way up to about the 7.4K mark, and yeah, this is where games really start to fall apart.
Certainly. Now there's just so much area that Houston can start to constrict on. We see a potential flank coming through. It is warded, so they will be on back, but Jimp wants to get in for that regardless. Not going to find it. That's okay. Just come back off. We'll see if Rastaban wants to continue this charge headlong into enemy territory, because now the remaining members of Houston are coming to potentially collapse. The top lane is both with teleporting, meaning we could have a 5v5 on our hands before too long, but they just decide to disperse. They're not going to worry about it. Carnegie Mellon falling into an unfortunate rhythm of giving objectives up, posturing, and then just backing off for free.
Yeah, going around through, Houston is just in an incredibly solid position right now. 3.5 minutes left before the first Baron starts to come onto the map. The question for a snowballing team is never how quickly can you get those first 3 towers, it's how quickly can you break that T2 line, because that's really where you start just strangling out any ability for Carnegie Mellon to come back in this game. Give them no jungle farm, give them no lane farm, and Herald's going to be an amazing first step to do that. LeBlanc does not have teleport just yet, but that cooldown's so short I don't even think that CMU has a chance to even contest this at this point.
Now with Neganar there, it really does seal the deal. You mentioned breaking open that second tier turret. Well, the Rift Herald's going to be a great vehicle to do that. It's also
Skarner
for Carnegie Mellon to get that turret. Now they are on the run. The teleport's coming down. Adam trying to hold things to his buck. Fen is actually in a little bit of trouble. Bam takes that kill away from himself, and Fen will die on the back line as Renu does come up with the flank. And now Jith and Rastaban are just trying to get out of there. It's a flash from Rastaban, which means Jith is all alone in a cruel world of Houston players and will go down to his top lane counterpart. Meanwhile, Renu still putting the hurt onto Flurry. Alloy still coming in there. It's his double kill. Elvis is in with the flash suppress, and that means Rastaban is going to be taken out of this one for sure. It's the triple kill for Alloy. And the unofficial ace, as Adam did just respawn. No, it actually was the ace. He gave him the credit. Adam is up. But it doesn't matter. Rift Herald is here. Mid lane tower is gone. 18 minutes, and it's 15-2.
Carnegie Mellon it feels like they're just looking for the quick play. They're not really thinking through, because they thought, oh, let's go get that mid tower, but they had no plan on what to do afterwards, and oh my, you cannot stop this LeBlanc right now.
Unfortunate. You know, we were scratching our heads a little bit at the pick, but it seems something that Renu is so comfortable with in this game. It means they're going to be taking an inhibitor pre-20 minutes. And Houston on the warpath are showing no signs of slowing down. They have 30 seconds to this dragon. They have some waves to reset. But man alive, are they in some good shape here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a game where, I mean, you don't normally see Barons go at the 20-minute mark. this is a game where you could see a 20-minute Baron. There is not really much holding them back. They've still got two amazing split pushers, both of which are online. Hextech Gunblade completed onto Renu. Alui has the 2 items completed onto Gnar. There is no waiting for spikes because everyone is at their spikes. 2 items completed also for Fairfars. And yeah, it would literally just be a massive throw. Something horrible would have to happen here for Houston to really let off the pressure.
Well, we're not going to jinx anything just yet. But you're right, it would take quite the miracle on the side of Carnegie Mellon, as the remaining objectives just seem to be formalities at this point. They're going to play it clean and by the book for the University of Houston as they do reset the pressure in their side lanes. They're going to try to take this Mountain Drake out and away. They, if they have some issue with their composition, it's that it doesn't take towers insanely well. It still does a fine job, but, this Mountain Drake will absolutely... Even that, it was just a club.
Yeah, they're going to be happy with absolutely any more stats they can get. It's like, yeah, would you rather get hit with a 45 mile per hour boulder, or would you rather get hit with a 46? Either way, it's going to hurt quite a lot, especially when it squishes you right into the ground. But, yeah, the Baron is coming up right about now. Want to see if Houston actually start making any initial moves to it, because this is a point where the majority of their early game, any ability for Carnegie Mellon to play through these early stages of the game was on the back solely of this bottom lane. Buckfen, Atome, even when Rastaban was down there, they needed to, if not destroy them, at least find some sort of advantage. But they step 1 or 2 steps too far. They just give kill after kill over to what should be the more defensive lane of Ezreal plus Karma. And it's just too much. Well, at that point, there's just no other lane that realistically can play through this sort of pressure.
Very much the case. Rastaban trying to get out does cost him the ultimate, and that's not what you want to see if you are the main engaged tool, but still seems like Carnegie Mellon is a damn far sight from engaging on anything just yet. All of their engaged tools have been used very defensively here. And it's just some time for the University of Houston to catch their breath a little bit. They've had the pressure on this entire time. They're still building it incrementally with Renu splitting out this bottom lane, buying his team some time to Baron out. Should be uncontested. A very casual Baron coming out now from the side of the University of Houston.
I mean, there's no vision. There's nowhere for anyone to come in. Rastaban's not even on the right side of the map.
That should be taken out. No contest. Adam, not there in time.
I mean,
a ward down. Q would have been better, but a ward works.
Didn't know whether it was being taken or not. Didn't know how low it was. Can't really blame him because at that point it's absolute suicide.
It's going to be now so much trouble for the side of Carnegie Mellon to hold out on the split push, especially now they still do, keep in mind, to have super minions pouring in through that bot side, so it's not the 1-3-1 we were talking about earlier. It's going to be a 3-2, a 1-4 type deal coming out. We'll be looking for a pick onto Alui, but, Fairfard is there. He's got the damage, and Jin, the main tank of CMU, doesn't actually stand a chance here. They're going to find that kill out and away. See if this push does continue. Wanting to get in on the buck then, but by the time that Black Shield will expire, Rastaban's a better target anyway. They find him, they kill him, he is down and dead. Fairfards with the double kill, make that a triple. No, Skarner Eldest takes that one out away. And they're just continuing to push on through. This has all been without their support, mind you, as they find a top lane tower and inevitably this inhibitor.
You know something is wrong with your team when the enemy Ezreal is very comfortable E'ing onto a Cho'Gath. Yeah, this is just CMU. They had a plan in the early game.
Still piling on here. They are still making the moves, and that is going to be a very quick game. Wow.
Yeah, and that's going to be
ouch.
A pretty damn decisive ending there, as Houston's finally able to take the set over CMU. And yeah, I mean, it all started with that bottom lane. CMU, they knew they had to win that lane. They pushed too hard, and it just all falls apart at the end.